doing? Did you have a good week? What are you up to? How's it going? I had a really good week. There's a lot going on, multiple fronts, and pretty happy with how everything is going. And I just wanted to share something with you before we go into the weekend. So a few days ago, I was on the phone with a friend, a dear friend, and she's in Northern Europe, and it's getting pretty cold and snowy. And, she said she wasn't feeling too great, that she was actually a little bit sad. And so, that changes the priorities when, a human says, hey, I'm not doing too good. And I see that as a cry for help. And I take those very seriously. And so changed the schedule and called her and hey, what's going on? And she spoke. And sometimes it's a perfect storm, right? It's like, it's the moon, and I had a bad day at work, or my son did this, or my daughter did that, or my husband, or my wife, or my boss, or whatever. Sometimes more than one factor comes together to give us a bad day. Somehow, it never feels like a bad day. It feels like a bad moment. It's like, oh, my life sucks now. And for some strange reason, we're really good at making it about a moment that's longer than the actual moment that's giving us a bad moment. You know what I mean? Like, something bad happened this morning, and it seems like life is not good anymore. Something bad happened all day yesterday, and now it's like, oh, life sucks. This isn't going good, and I'm really sad, and I'm really low. And that's just the way we seem to package our expectations, our emotions, our demand for something bigger and better and faster and shinier or whatever, And I think we need to be kinder with ourselves and our expectations in relation to, what really, really matters, and the amount of time that's going well versus the amount of time that's not going well. We have a lot of time. And it can't be a bad morning that gives you a bad day, and it shouldn't be a bad day that gives you a bad week. And now that we're coming towards the end of 2022, you hear a lot of people like, oh, I can't wait for this year to be over because it's a tough year, and I'm tired of this year. Next year's going to be a great year. And it's like, well, how does that work out? I'm not sure I understand why the calendar flipping to a new year gives us extra hope that now it's going to be the good year. Why don't we change that halfway through the bad day and say, you know what, I'm going to have a good day now. I know I had a bad morning, but let's make it a good day. Let's not expand this into a bad week, and I can't wait for this year to be over because next year is going to be the good year, the year we've all been waiting for, I think if we have control to manipulate our thoughts to the ability of having hope for the future, then surely our same brain can manipulate our thoughts to say, let's forget the bad morning, let's process that, whatever, but I'm not going to let that contaminate the rest of my life, the rest of my day, the rest of my week, And so going back to this wonderful friend and what she shared, and I really, like I said, I really take this very seriously. When somebody's not doing well, when somebody's struggling with something, I love to just really be there for them and really support that. And so she was sharing that this and this and this and this. I was like, okay, all right. And one of the things she mentioned was she was ill. She mentioned that she was actually quite ill this week. And I said, well, imagine a river. And here we go. This is the reason I've made this video for you. Imagine a river, okay? It's a beautiful day. The river is really flowing, really full, really healthy. You can see it. You can see it moving. And you're like, wow, that's a beautiful river. You can hear it. You can hear the healthy sound of a flowing river. And that's all you kind of see. You see the river, but you don't know how deep it is. And you have no idea what's in the river, what's at the bottom of the river. Now imagine that you are that river, and This is an analogy I've used for many, many years, and so it's the first time I'm sharing it with you, the general public that follow me here on social media. And thanks again for being on the other side of this screen. And it's always a super pleasure to reach out to you and communicate and make content for you. So imagine you are that river, and imagine that because you're sick, the river kind of goes down a little bit. It's not as full anymore. It's still flowing, the speed is there, but it's not quite as full. Now imagine that somebody's hurt you or disappointed you. Something's kind of upset you, and it kind of lowers a little bit more. And then something else is going on. And in the case of this friend, 3 things were going on that were basically lowering her energy, her flow. And so let's imagine that this river is really, 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 really low, to the point that now you can see what's at the bottom of the river. And like in cartoons and movies and things, at the bottom of the river, unfortunately, we don't think of these places as very clean. There's usually some rubber tires from some car. There's sometimes a car, an abandoned rusty vehicle. There's probably a rusty scooter or bicycle. There's rocks, there's the mud, there's all the trash at the bottom of the river. There's all that junk that accumulates that we cannot see when we are in full flow. When things are just like, yeah, look at this river, having a great time with this river, right? See what I'm getting at? It's when things are not well that we are inevitably faced with what we do not want to look at, but it's there, and now it's exploding in our faces because the river has lowered for whatever reason. And now we can see it, and now we have the opportunity to face it and clean it up, work it out, and release ourselves from that. What if, when we are good and empowered and feeling good and strong and a healthy flowing river, what if we took out some time from our day-to-day to go into that river and dive deeper than we usually dive and have a look around, see what's there? What are you finding down there? Is it only one rusty bicycle, or is it 27 rusty bicycles? Like, what are we carrying with us that often brings sadness when something weakens our flow? And then it's like, oh look, now I'm having to look at all these rocks and tires and bicycles, and there's even a car. Like, what are we carrying, And what are we doing with the things that become things that we carry? Do we process them and put them in a nice little box with a label, and we put it away and we archive these things neatly? Usually that is not the case. Usually we're like, yeah, and we sweep it under the rug and we kind of like forget about it, and I'm going to try and not think about that again and whatever, but it's going to be there. And so when it's a lower tide, we're going to see all the stuff that's there that we don't see when we're in full flow. Carrying that stuff with us anyway. So whenever you're not feeling great and you start to see the rocks and the mud and the bicycles and the rusty tires and wheels and whatever, when that comes to the surface, because it hasn't come to the surface, we have lowered our energy and like we're sad, and then all these things seem to be there. It's not a coincidence, it's because they already were there, and we were distracted with happiness, with Christmas shopping, which, by the way, I think is completely fucking insane. And, all these other things that distract us, right? To keep us in this, I don't know what to call it. Is it real happiness? Is it some kind of medicine? Like social media is to so many people? When are we living the barefoot, naked truth of who we are? Allowing us to oh look, I didn't realize that was there. Let's process this. This needs to be processed with that person. I'm going to give him a call. Let's go and have a coffee. Hey, remember this? Well, let's unload this together. yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you today. It applies to every single one of us. However happy we are, stuff has happened to us. And the older we are, the more stuff has happened to us. And I think it's super important that we are aware of ourselves so that those around us can kind of follow along and be inspired by our self-empowered strategy of life. What's my methodology for me? We're so good at being organized in terms of our house is clean, the kitchen is ready to cook a meal, we're there for our friends, but we got to be there for ourselves first. Because that will inspire those around us to be like, hey, I like what they're doing with that. Let me kind of learn from that. And kind of then integrate it into our own methodology. We don't need to look up at these superhero people. They're out there, they're incredible. We know who they are. We know the athlete, the actor, the producer, the business person. These superhero people are really exactly like you and me. They're not that different. What if that superhero person could be the person in the mirror every morning? And you could love and admire and respect that person in the mirror as much as you love and respect people you've never met and you might not ever meet. But we look up to and we admire them and we love them, like, wow, but then how about we do that for ourselves a little bit more, Anyway, I will continue to share these little insights, these snippets of wisdom, often learned the hard way, right? And I'll be as vulnerable as I feel like being, so expect the unexpected. I wish you a wonderful evening, a wonderful weekend, wherever you may be in the world. All the best, keep in touch, and if there's ever anything you need, I'll be right here, okay? Always happy to help. It's a very easy state for me to be in, to be of service, to do anything that I can for you. And that includes you too, and you. It's very natural for me, if there's anything I can do to make your life a little bit happier or a little bit easier, then I'm right here, all right? Take it easy, all the best, and once again, thanks for being there.